So, okay. Oh, we are live. Coming to you from Granville.
It's your show, ma'am.
It's my show, so I should actually start the show.
Yes, it is entirely yours. Well,
Oh,
we are waiting on an audience, so you might
okay.
want to wait a little bit. So you
Yes,
see,
let's wait a little bit. Or
yeah,
let me actually do the same and share.
yes, share is a thing.
Share is the trick
Yeah,
now. All right.
yes. I see Comrade Milton Reed is texting me to say that he's sharing.
Oh, wow. Thanks, Comrade Reed.
And you, if you look on the right hand side, you see Percival Griffiths saying good evening, and Ali,
Oh, my.
Ali, you see Ali, my friend. Are you reading it?
Oh, hi.
Yes.
Yes, I'm seeing it now.
I hear Ali divorced me now because of something 2 weeks ago, but we're friends forever. So you see some. Anyway, I'm gonna shut
No,
up. It's your
no
show.
divorce around here.
It's your show.
It's my show. Oh my God. First of all, I'm so excited. You tell me when you think it's a good time to start because I'm a novice in this thing.
Well, let's watch a count, and we're
Okay.
eight and
Oh,
growing. Yeah, I think I
okay.
have to
All right.
remind people to share and share and
Keep
share.
sharing, people. Keep sharing. All right. I'm going to do some sharing myself
Good.
so that we get more people in.
Yes.
So I'm sharing, I'm sending it out.
Marcia Hutchinson saying hi,
Hey, Marcia, my
and
good comrade from
Rowan
Central
White,
St. James.
Tanisha Williams.
Hi,
Yes.
Nicola.
Yes, Nicola Holness. Yes.
Yes.
Anyway, it's
Okay.
your show. Your show.
I
Your
love
show.
this. I love this. Oh, I didn't divorce you. I respect your decision.
I love you. I love you, Ali.
Good evening, comrade Nicola. Big up Marcia. All right. All right. Let me just send this out to a couple of people
Yes.
as we speak
Yes.
so that we
Althea
can.
Lang. You see Althea Lang saying hi. I
Hi,
saw her
Althea.
in an outfit today on her
Really?
Facebook page. Lovely.
Oh,
As a
yes. I
yeah.
saw it. I saw it. Hotness.
Rowan White checking in from Canada. You see, we're global enough.
Oh, yeah, real global.
Yes.
I can't manage you. Wow, wow. Well, I mean, we look like we're getting to some good numbers here as I continue to share to make sure that as many people as possible tune in to this special connection live with Philip Powell and my first time hosting. I feel very special. I'm not sure I know even how to compose myself. This
Yes.
exciting.
Warren Robinson saying hi. Angela Powell saying hi.
Hi, Angela. Hi, Warren. Boy. So you tell me when you think is a good time to start.
Yeah. No, I think you can start.
I
We,
think
we,
I
want,
can.
we want to teach those who come late a lesson.
Okay, okay, because both of us are very on time people. I am never late. I might not wear a watch all the time, but I'm never late, and you are never late. So we get along quite well.
Melbaton Newell saying hi from hot New York City.
Hi, Melverton. So first of all, I have to thank you very much, Philip, for inviting me to this chair from which I sit here in Granville. Everybody always hear me talking about Granville. I'm from Granville, and I'm excited to host you on your own show, which is interesting. But I'll see if I can do you and the show and your many viewers who tune in every week, if I can do this justice. So if I don't do such a good job, please forgive me. I will make it up. So, so
And
welcome
can,
to you,
can I
Philip.
can I just say a few words to welcome you? This is your show tonight, but just to welcome you from Granville. And we
Thank you.
know while you, as soon as you mentioned Granville, we have a big up counselor troop.
Yes,
And,
yes,
and we also, because you're from the parish, have to acknowledge the passing of Francis Tuller and to express our sympathies from the entire PNP family to
yes.
his wife and children,
Mm-hmm.
a great comrade stalwart, a great Jamaican, and
Yes,
wish the family well.
yes, yes. I will add my few words with regard to Comrade Tolo, who I've known all my life, all my life. My father served as a councillor in the Granville Division when he was the member of parliament for the then Central St. James. So it's somebody that I've always known. I grew up with him, and he's the reason I started in tourism, because my first job out of university was with him in his office as Minister of Tourism. So he has helped to pave the way for where I am today. And now I am pleased and happy to know that I can serve in a capacity that mirrors what he did and how he contributed to Jamaica. So may his soul rest in peace. And we
Like
now,
perfection.
yes. And we
I
look
gather the
forward
funeral
to
is on the 14th.
Yes, and the official funeral for Comrade Tolo will be on the 14th of July, which is 2 weeks from now, at the Blessed Sacrament Cathedral here in Montego Bay at 10:30. And we anticipate that it will be a wonderful opportunity for us comrades to gather along with Montegonians, because he was one of those politicians who was able to get along with everyone, because he served and served the people, and it never mattered the color they wore. It was about his principles and his policies, and he always did the best for his constituents. So we look forward to celebrating his life on the 14th.
Sandy just said, love the shirt, Philip. You know,
Yeah,
Sandy used to buy me shirts, but just stop buying me
she
shirts
stopped
now.
by a shirt
I
now.
have my suppliers elsewhere.
I I I'm in the business of receiving orange shirts too.
And even say that I'm looking fresh, but you don't know, I just wash my face,
Well, so thank you for having me, and thank you for welcoming me. And I just want to say that I believe that I'm in an envious position. I'm in an envious position because not very often that in a candid, relaxed way that people get a chance to interview Philip Hallwell. We have been seeing you, hearing you, seeing your name for, it's hard to imagine, a quarter century now in the public space. Um,
27 years
27.
in the parliament, first in the upper house.
Mhm.
But before that, I spent quite a few years in public life. I was the first CEO of the Fair Trading Commission, and I
Yeah.
was the youngest CEO of the Trade Board and Trade Administrator. So,
So
man,
so it's more than 27 years.
yeah,
So
man, 30 odd
30
years in public
something.
life. Yes.
Well, the fact that you have given so many years of consistent service to Jamaica, not just to the People's National Party, but to Jamaica, is commendable. And I would love to get in your point of view. Many of us, we hear of Philip, we make our own judgments about Philip. We hear that he has done this or not done that. And so many things come up in people's minds. And I know we have a very short time, but I would love for you to help us to begin to dispel some of that. What do you think what would you say would
Yeah.
be your two greatest accomplishments and your two most misunderstood moves that you have made?
All right. Well, people always associate me with the liberalization of the telecom sector, and they are correct, because that really enabled Jamaica to lead an entire world. Because before, what we did, which was to recognize that we couldn't go anywhere with a monopoly situation, we realized that the country wouldn't advance in any way with all the revolution taking place in both telecommunications and computing technology. And that we led the world to show how you can demonopolize without having to pay hefty compensation fee. Because before us, Hong Kong did get rid of their monopoly, but they had to pay $2 billion compensation to the same cable and wireless. But I don't regard that as the greatest achievement, because there are some spin-off achievements that I think required even greater determination, even greater courage. And that was the establishment of the Universal Service Fund and the work that we did to create the BPO industry in Jamaica. And I'm taking claim for the creation of the 50, 60,000 jobs we now have as an industry. But the USF was established out of a convenience of ensuring that our people got access not just to these, and some people have two and three, but what they represent, which is access to a knowledge-based world, access to data, access to the internet. And we had to struggle to get that Universal Service Fund funded by imposing some taxes on foreigners. So when you call into Jamaica, you have to pay a cess. And many people did not like that. In fact, my American friends, I was summoned to Washington to go and defend it. But very importantly, the international carriers that terminated calls in Jamaica, they resisted. And you are too young to remember this, but in 2005, when we launched this fund, the international carriers said they're going to teach us a lesson, and they shut down all the circuits into Jamaica. Jamaicans could not, yes, for 3 days, we couldn't make calls out to our friends and family all across the world. No calls would come in for 3 days.
Wow.
And people said, what happened to the minister? People were calling for the resignation of the minister, not for the first time or the second time. But I'm happy to say,
yes.
I, first of all, resisted the call, and thanks Prime Minister Patterson right there.
Mm-hmm.
But not only that, we were able to not blink, because if we did blink and we did relent, then dog never supper. So for 3 days, the country was locked down. Mm-hmm. And we know that the carriers were losing billions of dollars. Mm-hmm. They knew that people were coming at my neck. And we watched and waited until they could not do it anymore. They turned on back the circuits.
So it's perseverance to pursue a policy that you believed in and knew would benefit Jamaicans at large.
Throughout my life, that has been the one thing that has featured. I am not going to back down from a fight. Mm-hmm. Once I believe that the Jamaican people will benefit, cause it what it will.
Well, you know, in these times when we have, and I'll come back to the two not so exciting things, but it's at this time when we're going through such a difficult period in our economy, in our nation, just generally, with so many things, it requires that type of fortitude, that type of perseverance and insistence that we stick to a policy that is guided by a principle where we are improving, bettering the lives of our people in a fair and equitable way. And so I must commend you for that, because now today we take for granted all of what we have access to and forget what we did not have. And now we have it just like that. So good job, Philip, my friend.
But so, you asked about the negatives now.
Yes, so, let's get to that.
You know, one of the features, one of the things that I have failed to do is to confront head-on negatives. I don't know if it's because I'm my father's son, and my father used to shy away from getting into squabbles and arguments and defending. Right. And so I have allowed a lot of things to go unremedied, put it that way. And I have reached a point in my life now that I say, no, too much of turning your back on these things, too much of focusing on the real issues rather than dealing with some of the negatives.
You have to balance it.
I have to balance it. Because at every stage of my career, I had enemies. You create enemies when you have a view about things, and that impact on people. You have people in privileged position in this country, and you're not going to get the benefits coming to your people unless you affect them. So whether it was the used car policy that affected the new car dealers, and even those used car dealers at one time were allowed for 7-year-olds, and we pushed it back one time to 5-year-olds, and people were upset because I did that.
No, I remember that.
Yes, but it was necessary. I remember recently, even more recently, when I had issues with the bauxite industry, and I put my foot down and said, I am not going to renew these licenses unless you do certain things. So you get enemies, and sometimes you ignore them to your peril, especially when they try to say bad things or organize. These things can be fomented and unorganized. So the celebrity, the most vicious rumor or scandal
Yes.
has been about this company that NetServe that came in during the revolution that was taking place, during the attempt to create the 40,000 jobs. We now have 60,000. And during the risk that you have to embrace, especially because we are not accustomed to the private sector leading the risk in this country. It's a government that has really embraced the risk. And when we decided that we're going to create office space for 50, 60,000, we had to take certain risks. And we have gone through this so many times, but with
No, I
your
want us.
approval.
I
Yes,
know we have gone through this, but for some reason, people not getting it. So
yes,
if we do nothing else today, let us get this straight. You are saying that NetServe was an intention and a plan and an execution by the government.
yes,
Explain again.
yes, led by me.
Yes.
Because we had raised, nobody believed we could raise money from the opening up of the cellular service. So through me, we raised over 100 million US dollars, which is now 150 billion Jamaican dollars. And we decided to use some of those funds to create jobs, to create the infrastructure for jobs. And so we invested some money in attracting people to come to Jamaica to create call center jobs. They are now BPO jobs. Let me tell you how NetServe really started. And this is,
Yes.
I've never said this before.
Say it.
Yeah, so I'm going to say it now. So when we liberalized and we had all of this money, one day the Prime Minister said to me, Philip, we need some investors now. The price of telecoms plummeted from 40,000 per month for our T1 line to $400. We need some investors now. And he said to me, go to visit the head of America online. Name sits me now. But that man had a house in Trial, right? Loves Jamaica. And PJ said, go and visit him because he has thousands of seats, call center seats in the Philippines. So I went
Move them to Jamaica.
well, that was the aim. So I went to him. I don't remember which state in the US he was. And I did a convincing argument. I said, Jamaica, well, our telecoms now, right? Our people are the best. In fact, you can get any accent you want from a Jamaican. And every Jamaican know about CNN. So the people that you really need are not the Indians or the Filipinos. You need Jamaicans.
Right.
And him said, well, Minister, I'm convinced. I have now to take to Jamaica 2,000 seats, which is about 2,500 jobs. When can I come? And Janice, I had to shut up because I didn't have the space.
You didn't have the space yet.
I didn't have the
Take
space
opportunity.
yet. I didn't have the space yet. I didn't have the seats. And so I was embarrassed because I said to him, well, listen, why don't you come and build out some space? And he said, no. I'm not into the real estate business. I want plug and play.
Like an incubator thing, which is what's very common right now.
Absolutely. We established that afterwards. So that was the experience with American Airlines. So I know when I spoke about 40 and 50,000 jobs, that was realizable.
It was realistic.
It wasn't a pipe dream. It wasn't youthful exuberance.
Yes.
It was real. So I came back to Jamaica and we decided that we have to create space. So we spent money. We got the free zone to start to build out, but we realized that we couldn't do it alone. We need private sector support. And that's why we established the Intech Fund, which was to encourage investors to come to Jamaica to build out space and to establish call centers and to have space available for other investors. That's how the Intech Fund started. This company called NetServe came to Jamaica. They established that they had contracts for jobs, and what they needed was some of the loan money to build out seats and computers. It is true that we wanted the thing to happen fast, but the NIBJ that was in charge did, I believe, adequate due diligence. But sometimes in business, and people don't understand, you sign a contract with some people to say that they want 200 seats. And then midway,
You end up with, yeah. And it happens today. It happens today with many BPO operators.
it happens today. And
Yes.
it's a lesson. These things are valuable, invaluable lessons,
Mm-hmm.
which show us the way. So NetServe actually came. They showed us that they had contracts, and they got 250 million to borrow. And in twos, the business failed because people withdrew contracts.
Right.
So the Auditor General investigated because this was a massive scandal. Auditor General investigated, the Contractor General investigated, Amnesty International, you know who they are? That's the
Yes.
global corruption watchdog.
Watchdog.
All three of them got involved because then Shaw was the Mr. Scandal revealer man. So
Mm-hmm.
when they bust a scandal, everybody come here. I have all of those reports. And in the final analysis, what did Amnesty International say? They could account for all the computers because the people them didn't take the computer and go back to America.
Mm-hmm.
They could account for all the programming that was done. They could account for the $250 million. It was right there. And nobody got a pop off. But it was a massive scandal.
You see, this is a kind of conversation I appreciate having because,
Yeah.
like you said in the beginning, you might have allowed a lot of things to go unsaid for many years to your own detriment and your own reputation. So I'm grateful for this platform because whomever is here hearing right now can really begin to appreciate in a real way exactly what happened and what did not happen.
And the records
So
are there.
records are there and they're still there. So
Yeah.
what I gather from all of that is an opportunity was identified with the liberalization of telecoms. You saw where there was an opportunity to advance discussions for some business to come to Jamaica, but in order for that business to come, some infrastructure work needed to be done, which was not there and needed to happen quickly.
Yeah.
And basically, that same model is what is used today in the BPO industry. Now, so you were ahead of your time. So if I should ask you one thing about NetServe, if today that same opportunity presented itself with the same components, what would you do differently?
I'm not sure because I did nothing wrong. I believe that
Understood.
I believe that a minister in an environment where you need to get your economy growing, you have to take risk. You can't
Yes.
sit on a warm chair forever.
Mm-hmm.
You have to go out there and bat, and you're going to miss some of the balls.
Yeah, but
But you're
then you
not going
need
to score a six if you don't
all
go
the
and
time.
bat.
Yes,
Right?
yes,
And what I'm clear about is that once you do these things with a clear conscience and heart,
yes,
you know, the rest will be taken care of. And as we're seeing now, the BPO industry is what is saving Jamaica and
yes.
tourism, you know.
Yes, yes. Well, thank you very much for that, Philip, because and this could go on and on. So that's NetServe. Is there one other
Yes, yes,
scandal?
yes. So on the energy side now, I
Yes,
tell you now, when I came, I was Minister for Energy from 2002. So actually this year marks 20 years that I'm in the energy business sector,
wow.
whether as minister or spokesman. And you might think that, boy, why you in energy for so long, but that's a different matter. So in 2014, when I came back as minister in 2012. In 2002, when I became minister, the price of electricity was 42 cents per kilowatt hour. And we decided that if we don't get it down to 15 cents, then dog numbers suffer. So we started by doing diversification of fuel sources. And of course, you know that I was the person who built out the wind farm at
Yes,
Wigton.
yes,
A massive risk that was, we took the chance. I guess recently they sell Wigton for a massive profit.
yes.
That's not private sector, It was the
The
government of
government.
Jamaica took that risk, but it's not the wind farm we're talking about now. So we decided that we're going into LNG, liquefied natural gas. And when I came back into office in 2012, Mr. Zaka was involved in a process to try and get a developer for a natural gas facility and also to establish a generator to produce electricity. When I came back and I looked at the price, remember, we started at 42 cents. I want to get to 15 cents. When
Mm-hmm.
I came back, and I looked at where they were with this procurement, they were close to about 30 US cents. And when we speak about 30 US cents, that's wholesale. That's for the generation and the establishment of the infrastructure, right? So I said, no, 30 cents is too much.
Right.
Shut this thing down. Let us start again. We started again in an informal process involving the OUR, and they sent out bids, invitation. People start to submit things, and we were reviewing them. When we got to crunch time, again, the lowest bid that came in was 21 cents per kilowatt hour. And I do my calculation because the thing about me, and you're a lawyer too. No, sorry, you're not a lawyer. You're
my sister.
Your sister. I try to understand the thing. I try to read about everything. I try to know what the world is doing, what the trend is. Right? So I know where the world is going. And 21 cents was too much. And so people were calling me and say, Philip, this person bid so much. This person is Jamaican. And they are good people. Why not just sign up on a license? License for 20 years. I said, no, because if I do that, then for 20 years, while these people are making billions and billions of dollars,
Jamaicans losing.
The Jamaicans are losing. So out of the blue, we don't know them, but I checked them out, and to me they were solid. A company called EWI submitted a bid. 12.9 US cents per kilowatt.
Very close to the 15.
Well, not only that, but coming from 20 odd.
Right.
So I went to the cabinet and said, listen, we can't get any better than this at this time. And I convinced the cabinet that we should get these people to do the 360 megawatt plant. Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy. Enemies came from nowhere.
Left, right, and center.
Left, right, and center, because what you're doing is kicking out of people's mouth billions and billions of dollars. So they had to crush this.
Yes.
They had to label it as, yeah, Philip, I try a thing. It's infringed them. It must get something.
Must,
you know, because this is how these people do business in Jamaica.
So on principle and guided by where you saw the market and what is happening in the world, where it was and where you wanted it to get to, your objective was to get to 15 cents, no more than 15 cents, coming from 42 initially. Initial bid, a new bid comes in, 21, everybody pushing you to go in that direction. But then you get a better deal for Jamaicans and you're standing up for Jamaicans. And then you will get the bad name because you're, like you say, you're kicking billions of dollars out of people's mouths.
But listen, they come against a company. So the company that had gotten tentative approval from the IADB to fund the project, all of a sudden, the IADB said, boy, too much controversy around this project. So they backed out. They withdrew the fund. And before you know it, the EWI guys said, no, man, this place is not...
This is play thing. This country not serious.
They run off and left the bag. And people say, oh, scandal.
Yes.
The good thing, though, Janice, because the good thing is that in all of that 12.9 cents was etched in people's consciousness. So even when we went back out with Dr. Lawrence leading the process, you know what price they came back with and agreed on?
What was that?
12.9 cents per kilowatt hour.
Yes.
12.
So, in some respects, you were vindicated because at the end of the day, Jamaicans got the 12.9 under the 15. But your reputation was tarnished because of standing up for Jamaica and Jamaicans and finding the best solution for Jamaica.
I'm not the only person who has gone through that. So I'm not the only person who's ever lived.
No, I know, but it's only you alone are talking to right now. So it's you I'm dealing with right now.
Respect.
I appreciate the balanced approach, the two amazing things and the two things that would have caused people to say, call your name in negative tones. So I'm glad for that set out. So let's talk a little politics now.
All right, good.
This is the orange time now. So I have been fortunate enough to as a new senator, new parliamentarian in the last 2 years to benefit from guidance from people who have gone ahead of me and served in the capacity that I now serve. And you're one of them. And so I call upon you. And earlier we looked at the numbers and how long you've been at this. And as a parliamentarian, you've been at it for 27 years. As a member of parliament for 25 years. So before we get into the celebration of the 25 years, we are in our conference season. We are in our conference season, and many of us have been heading on the road. We have been out there at divisional conferences. I've done a few. We haven't met up as yet. I hear we might link up in South St. James soon. What has been your impression of these divisional and constituency conferences that you have been going to? What are people saying? What are they yearning for, and what are they expecting of the PNP?
Yeah. I'm very pleased with what I've seen. But I'm a serious politician. So I've been there, done that. So the good thing is the PNP supporters, our members, they want to see PNP back in the fray. They want to see us back as government. They want us to see us back in control of the parish councils. And they are tired of the cussing and the fighting, and really want to see a way forward. And sometimes we up here need to listen a lot more to people down there, and you have to listen to everybody.
Yes.
Everybody, those who are, everybody has a say.
Yes.
Right, and you have to listen to everybody. But out of this period, even those comrades who were turned off and regarded themselves as an anti-body, they do show up at the conferences.
Yes.
And there is an underbelly that suggests that, boy, if you could only get it right, it's a matter of time.
Yeah.
Right? And there are some candidates who we have who are working very hard.
Yes, and consistently so.
Consistently so. But for a long time, people have been campaigning for these local government elections for 3-4 years now.
Crazy.
And when I think about them, I said, boy, we really have to try to create an environment where they have a fighting chance. Because I know that if our party is not together,
yes,
there's no way. There's no charisma. There's nothing.
Yes.
There's no policy that you're going to put out there to get people to support us.
Right. Your impression and mine have been the same. I have been going to a few conferences, and first of all, I must give it up to the councillors and councillor candidates who have put themselves up to represent the people, and they have done so with such good intentions. And I am particularly pleased, especially when I see younger candidates who have made themselves available to the public. Yes. And they have been out there in Westmoreland, in Hanover. I'm speaking of Western Jamaica, Westmoreland, Hanover, St. James. I really must commend them. I could make a long list right now, but I don't want to start a list and then I miss out some names. But what I want to point out, like, we have both been given assignments to manage parishes. I am managing St. James and you are managing, I believe, St. Thomas.
Yes.
Correct. Right. And I have seen and I have felt the same things that you have seen and felt, which is that comrades out there want to see all of us out there. Yes. They want to hear us and know that we are all in it together. And that is what I appreciate and have been seeing throughout this season. We are all out there. Yes. We are out there. Some of us might be captured on video and some not, but we are all out there. And when they see us and feel us, I mean, that's why I have to wear my orange.
Yes, yes, yes.
So we are seeing the same things and we are encouraged. But what it's also said, what they're all crying out for is the need for leadership in the country that will lead to a Jamaica that is fair and balanced for all Jamaicans. All of us want our garbage collected. All of us want a safe environment to live in. All of us want access for our children to education. All of us want access for people and ourselves to health care. And that is what a progressive party like ours must continue to be focused on policies that will advance all of Jamaica, move all of us forward, so that at the end of the day, we are doing better off than we were.
And this JLP government is not it.
It's not it.
This JLP government is not it. They have never been so, and they will never be so. It is the People's National Party who can get us moving forward.
Right. And you know, as you say that, right, I see my role, as much as I might have um thought that, you know, you're too young in this thing to have a role. We all have a role. We all have a role to play. I have a role and a responsibility to protect and secure the legacy of my father and other comrades who have worked so hard over these many years to build a party that is as strong as it is. And so I would like to find out from you, what do you see your role as, Philip
Yes.
Paulwell?
Yes, I'm going to deal with that frontally because,
Yes.
you know, I have some people here who follow me.
Yes.
And sometimes I think recently they really did not understand or don't understand what I'm trying to do. And I got some criticism recently, but I want to explain it because I had the party leader, Comrade Mark Golin, on the program 2 weeks ago,
Yeah.
or 3 weeks ago. And let me explain, because not many people know, about 2 months ago, you know, I came this close to stepping away from the politics. Believe it or not. I
Really?
came this close, yes, because at that time I said to myself, our party is going nowhere. Because I know if we are not united, there's no way we can win. And I believe that I'm a better minister than a backbencher in the parliament. And it's not because of position, but my constituents know that it was because of my ministerial function that they were able to benefit from telephone service. From at the time we were reducing the price of electricity, and that was going down, to access to internet and computers in schools and so on. And by and large, we are a better government because we care more about the people. But I know if we are not together, and it doesn't, you're not ever going to get 100%, but you need to get to 75%. And if you don't achieve that, then the ordinary supper. So I looked at the landscape and I saw where the poles were. We were underwater. And I know that if we continued, then it made no sense. Better I focus on my legal practice and earn some money so I can have some pensionable years where I'm far better off financially than I am now. When I looked at the party, we were underwater. And it is because the disunity continued. I have been meeting with the party leader over many months. In fact, I resigned last year as chairman and vice president because in my heart, I believe we were going nowhere and that we would never be united. I would not have resigned if I didn't feel that way. I became encouraged recently when, after having discussions with the party leader, certain things were said to me. No, I'm quite clear. What happened in 2019 should not have happened. And I hope to God it will never happen again, because the party suffered and
Yes.
Comrade Bunting suffered, right? And there are some important lessons to learn. So people were saying to me, Philip, if you challenge a party leader and try to win, then we could try and get the thing back together. It wouldn't happen. It wouldn't happen. That's not how our party operates. Plus, I, in 2019, advocated a principle that Peter Phillips deserved his turn to face the national electorate. I think it was unfair what happened. right, to my dying day, and it has been proven, right? So I could now go back on that.
Right.
And the way our party is structured, it is very difficult to challenge a party leader and win. But the
Mm-hmm.
principle is what I was operating under. So when I heard Comrade Golan saying certain things that accorded with my own view, that the number one priority going forward now is unity,
Mm-hmm.
number one, and nothing more,
Which requires all of us.
I got in tune. And it wasn't about my being put back as leader of opposition business solely, because that would be self-centered, selfish, and you can't achieve unity by one person. It has to
Mm-hmm.
be a whole. So I was very encouraged by what transpired. And to be fair, there were apologies given, you know, and I have to accept things on the face of it, and just to watch to see that there's consistency. So I believe that there is now a mood that is overwhelming the party to greater unity,
Mm-hmm.
get rid of some of the bitterness that was present, and to
Mm-hmm.
see how we can move forward for the sake of Jamaica.
So you've been encouraged by what you've, based on your discussions, which you say you've been having over a number of months now with the comrade leader, and you've seen certain things that cause you to be confident. And you said 2 months ago you were in a certain mindset, which you no longer are,
Yes,
clearly.
yes,
And
yes.
that's encouraging because, like I said before when I interjected, the business of unity requires all of us, and not everybody is going to be satisfied at any one time. Like you said, 100% is not going to be is not achievable, but we should at least aim for 75%. At the end of the day, Jamaica needs a PNP. Jamaica needs the PNP. Jamaica needs a united PNP, because our policies, what guides us, our guiding principles, are ones that are in line and accord very well to what Jamaica needs and Jamaicans need right now. So I
Yeah.
look forward to us continuing on this path, getting to where we need to get to, where all of us play the role that we are there to play. And we
It is not easy, you know. It is not easy. I've said to
yes,
the party leader that rather than other things that come from the bottom and flow up, it starts at the very top,
right.
and it goes down. And
Mm-hmm.
it's a work in progress 24/7. And
Mm-hmm.
that's why I'm a bit concerned as we move towards annual conference.
Mm-hmm.
People say, boy, it is always good to have the internal democracy at work and to have contests and so on. I'm fearful because I believe that we're going to have local government elections this year. All
Okay.
signs point to that.
Go into it.
And whenever you have internal contests, regardless of how decent the contest is, and I thought in 2018 when I ran for VP, it was a decent contest,
Mm-hmm.
but bad blood still flowing from then, you know. And it's not
Yeah.
only by probably those who are vying, but all the supporters, because everybody comes with supporters.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't like the idea of a contest as we approach election. Plus, the party is not awash with money, and
Mm-hmm.
people who vie internally, they have to go out and do massive campaigns. You wouldn't believe it how much
Mm-hmm.
money is spent, and that money
Yeah.
is coming from the very same people who you're
Who
going
would
to need to
fund the
fund your
party?
candidates.
Yes.
It is inevitable.
Yes.
So I am very wary about
Yeah.
a contest at this time.
And all signs are pointing to a contest at this time.
Unfortunately,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I believe that people should have the right, but I believe as we are now approaching local government elections,
Mm-hmm.
and elections can be called right after independence, or
Yes.
or or right after the JP conference. In
Yes.
that case, you'd have expended so much money,
Mm-hmm.
on an internal campaign
Yes.
where you travel through all the places to convince delegates, whilst forgetting that
Right.
your organization, your canvassing, the work that you need to do now to
Mm-hmm.
win, will be put on the back burner. The money that you need.
So, it is my hope that we all realize that at the end of the day, political parties are in the business of politics because for governance and
Yeah,
to assume leadership. So we have to be smart about what we do and how we go about things, because just the same way we are trying to be ready for an election, the government, the JLP, is trying to ready themselves and find the most opportune time to call an election. And the
yeah,
most opportune time to call an election is when your opponent is weakest. Weakest in this case could be fracture from our own doing, or funding and or lack thereof.
yeah.
So strategically, if the tables were turned, we would be seeking to do the very thing that I believe that they are now strategizing to achieve,
Yeah.
because at the end of the day we all want power, and power for the sake of doing better for the Jamaican people.
Absolutely.
Well,
Absolutely.
I'm happy that you touched on the VP race, because that was one of my questions in terms of your views on where we are right now and what we seem to be facing, because next week we have nominations. I
Yeah.
do hope that we do not do any nominations on the 4th of July in observance of our founder,
Oh no, leader.
Norman
Yes.
Washington Manley's birthday. I think we
Yes.
should keep that day clear and separate from everything. So I
Yes.
look forward to nobody being nominated on that day.
Yes.
That's my little 2 cents. And who have ears, let them hear.
Right.
So let me know, Touch, because I know you're a man about time, and I don't want to run too much into overtime, which I think we might be a little bit close to it right now.
Yes.
We mentioned earlier that you are in your 25th year, and you are not many people are in your position to be able to celebrate 20 years of service to
25.
your people. 25 years, I'm sorry, of service to your people. Tell me a little bit about your time as a member of parliament and some of your achievements that you would want to mention. And you must be having a constituency conference, and something
Yeah.
tells me that this 25th one might be interesting.
Well, I have never done any work as challenging, difficult, and in so many respects rewarding as being member of parliament for Kingston East and Port Royal. People say it's a safe seat,
Hmm.
and it has been it is probably a safe seat, yes, because of the forebears, persons who have served before me, the way things were organized. But I have to work damn hard as a member of parliament
Mm.
because you have to keep it safe. And there have always been challenges in the constituency. Many people don't accept that when I first ran, it was on the slogan, I hear you.
Really?
Yes. And that came out of a process that involved all of my scrutineers going out to find out what was or were the main issues in East Kingston and Port Royal.
Hmm.
After we did all of that, we came to number one. And you're not going to believe me. The number one issue was the lack of telephone service in,
Really?
in 1997.
Well, check.
People used to go to call boxes and
Yes.
have to join long line. People knocking on the door. Man, I talk to him girlfriend in New York and have to cut the conversation. People used to have this first cell phone was like a refrigerator.
A brick.
And remember those of you at home, you used to have party lines. Um, and there was a time, well, of course, when the first cell phone came out, when I call you, I pay for the call,
And I
but
pay
you
for the
pay
call.
for it too.
Yes.
Jamaica had the lowest teledensity in the Caribbean, but we had the highest cost for telephone service, the highest. So today, people take it for granted, but that was the number one issue at the time. And so I celebrate that. But I also benefited because at the end of Michael's period, Michael Manley, they had started the Manley Meadows housing project,
Hmm.
5,000 houses. So I was able to see that through Marjorie Taylor and myself. So we have that stock, but we do need to improve the rest of the stock. We have been focusing on removal of zinc fencing. So I have done 2 phasings recently in Burger Gully, Bower Banks. We're into phase 3 now, and then we're going to start another phase by Hippolyte. $4 million will be spent on that.
For what?
$4 million Jamaican dollars in the first
Okay.
phase, Hippolyte. An important aspect of the work for me has been the regularization of electricity. I was embarrassed as Minister of Energy that
Yes.
throughout my constituency, you would see, and it is not yet 100%, but it used to gall me that we had such high level of theft of electricity. So I'm happy that people now in Bower Banks, for example, they now have their meter where they do a what you call it now? Prepaid
Yes.
facility. And they're watching the numbers, so they know when to top up.
They can manage
so
it.
Yes, and we're doing that in a number of communities across the constituency. So those are positive things. But I have spent the most money on education, and I make no apologies for it. My roads are probably not the best roads, but when I became member of parliament, what to me was quite staggering was the fact that there were so many youngsters leaving primary school, going to secondary school, and they were not reading or writing at their grade level or at all. And I decided to tackle that to the point where I am proud that we have pretty much solved that problem of illiteracy. Our problem now is numeracy, and that's
Okay.
But what did I do? I decided for the teachers to identify those students who were not reading well. We paid the teachers a stipend to remain after school. We gave the students food. We also encouraged those of their parents who were illiterate to come in and to do a computer class. So we
Wow.
put a computer lab, and while they were trying to figure out mouse and thing, they were able to read and write.
Good.
So we're moving now we have this youngster who benefited from my reading program, who now graduated from university. He has now written an app, a math app.
Oh, really?
Makes math so excited. I shared it with the Minister of Education recently, and we're going to try to see how we can influence the government to take this on.
Wow.
Because when kids have fun while they learn,
yes,
and it's the best way to get them to learn.
Right? As you say that, I have to interject there. I believe that our education system in Jamaica requires some massive transformation. Yes. We are so stuck on what worked 40 years ago in terms of the structure of our curriculum and how we teach. We have to transform because our children have changed. The society has changed. So many things, the environment has changed, and we have to make learning much more exciting, because maybe that's why I didn't do well in math.
Well, you see, a lot of the teaching the methodology is boring, especially for boys. Girls like yourself are far more conscientious, but you have to make it far more interesting. Try to develop an inquisitive mind in your students and allow them to go out there and learn. So you develop an app, make it so interesting, make it into a game. And that is where we are now with maths. And I believe we're going to solve that problem, starting in East Kingston, once and for all.
Okay, so what else do you want to achieve for your constituency, having covered 25 years? What's your next thing?
Yes, well, we want to get the better roads in.
Yes.
I've had 2 projects that are my legacy projects. I'm a sportsman. I love sports. And we've been struggling to get 2 mini stadiums up and running. We had developed drawings and everything for Rockfort and start to do fencing. In fact, Rockfort was envisaged to be much more than just a stadium. It was going to become an entertainment complex, a commercial complex, because we were going to have nestled in the hill an amphitheater, and of course you're not going to be too bothered by night noise of that side.
Mm-hmm.
So we have all of those plans, drawings and everything. We had started some work.
Yes.
Violence
Yes.
overtook us, and then there was somebody who mentioned that the violence was a result of people scrambling to get work done. So the investor who wanted to use the venue to promote their business, I won't mention the name,
Mm-hmm.
they were prepared to put millions of dollars in the venue so we can name the venue after it, and to have, they pulled
Yes.
out when they heard that people say, boy, this is because of money going to run.
Oh.
So I'm still hoping we can go back to them. Knock on wood, we have had relative peace in that community. And then there's another area adjacent to Bellevue, which is used by Camperdown. We want to, I've been working with them to establish a mini stadium there as well. Frustration, we had drawings done, but we just can't get investors to come in. Government can't do it. So it has to be private sector. So we're
Right.
working with that, and the energy is still there.
Well, you know, I'm so happy for this conversation because I'm getting a very good understanding of some of the things that you have done, some of what you have achieved, both as a minister and as a member of parliament, and within the party, your role in the party going forward. Um, I could spend a whole hour or two on the achievements of Philip Powell as a minister. I hope you don't. Do you feel typecast as a minister of energy?
No, remember, I didn't start in energy. I was
Okay.
commerce, industry,
Mm-hmm.
science, and technology. So
Right.
I think if anything, I'm typecast as science and technology
Science and technology.
because that
Okay.
has followed me. But
Uh,
industry and commerce was there.
mm,
Energy came on later, but
mm.
but we have work to do. We still have to
Yeah.
solve the energy problem. If we can solve energy, then
Productivity, production.
of course,
That is part of the big problem, this energy. And I hope at some point the government will in fact listen to the recommendations that you and the party leader and the party itself, the opposition, has made with regard to energy and the business of the gas tax and how that could be managed in order that Jamaicans can be relieved even
right.
a little bit, because to be honest, a promise of a $25,000 voucher is not going to resolve the issues that people are faced with and the reality that they're faced with when it comes on to the cost of gas or the cost of energy.
What is happening
So
on the energy side is scandalous.
it's
What the
terrible.
government did with Venezuela is scandalous. And I believe that they have to now work with the US administration. I think President Biden is
Yes.
a good president. He
Mm-hmm.
means well, I believe. We have to solve the Cuban problem.
Yes.
But our foreign affairs, our foreign policy has been one of the greatest failings
I know
of
we are gone over time, but let's spend a
the,
little time on this foreign policy thing because it's
yes,
important. Let's start with Venezuela.
yes.
So we had built an amazing relationship with Venezuela that was beneficial in so many ways, both sides. And we now no longer have that.
We kick over that milk.
We kick over that can of milk. And
Yeah.
now what is amazing is that the United States, who we were trying to follow their lead, when I say we, I mean Jamaica, not the PNP, following their lead and doing what America said at the time to do. And now America is going to Venezuela and seeking to get oil from Venezuela while we are left in the cold. What do you say about that, Philip Paulwell?
I'm speechless because if I have never seen such foolhardiness in foreign policy as I've seen with this government. Petrocarib benefited the JLP more than we know.
Oh,
In
really?
2008, when the world was on this Great Depression, the price of oil went to $150 a barrel.
Mm-hmm.
If it wasn't for Petrocarib in 2008, the value of the Jamaican dollar would have gone to over 200 to 1. When the JLP took office in 2007, the price that we had gotten negotiated, and the contractor general said this wasn't a scandal, it was a good price. 68 million US we sold 49% shares in Petrojam. It was Audley Shaw who got that check, not the
Talk
PNP.
up, talk up the things, Philip Paulwell.
It's Audley Shaw got the check on
Mm-hmm.
behalf of the government, $68 million. No, for this government to come now and, as it were, confiscate those shares, but worse than that, to turn its back on the arrangement there was nothing that the world was offering Jamaica ever and since that is more beneficial than Petrocarib. And I believe that it is going to go down in history
A travesty.
as the most ungrateful thing. And not to mention what has happened in CARICOM and the division. This government has been a massive failure when it comes down to foreign affairs.
You know, the work that was done and the things, the advancements that were made in CARICOM as a body, as a united bloc. It is sad that we are now in this place. I cannot imagine for someone like Comrade Pattison, who was the statesman in the region, who led CARICOM and was the voice of the Caribbean. I cannot imagine how he feels when he sees all of what is happening now.
He must be depressed.
Must
be depressed. Jamaica used to lead this place.
Yes.
Jamaica was the natural leader of not only CARICOM, but the entire non-aligned movement.
Yes.
Third World, advocating for South-South cooperation.
Mm-hmm.
It was Jamaica. No, you know who people looking to?
Barbados.
Give her
Give her credit where credit is due.
Give her due.
Mm-hmm.
Mia Mottley is a shining star.
Well, you know, we have to thank God right now for Mia Mottley, because otherwise the Caribbean would be non-existent. Yes. So we have to give thanks for her. But as you say, we are not used to being in a position where Jamaica has basically no voice, and in a position where we're just not used to this at all.
Not used to it at all. So I'm embarrassed.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Well, there's work to be done for the PNP. There's work to be done by the PNP. All of us, there's work for all of us to do. I could talk to you all night, every day on so many different topics, because you are very knowledgeable. And I'm not just saying that because I'm talking to you and all of your friends right now, but you are very knowledgeable.
I said my friends, I'm quarreling and fighting about.
Yes, what they're quarreling and fighting about now?
I wish they would focus a little bit more on us, but you know.
Yeah, I kind of wish it was about us tonight, because I learned a lot. I learned about a little bit more about NetServe. I hope that all of our viewers learned a lot and understand exactly what was done, and that at the end of the day, the investments made by the then government and the ministry that you led, it is unquestionable and the reputation is intact. You acted on behalf of seeing an opportunity for Jamaica to advance ourselves in the sphere of business process outsourcing, the very industry that many of us are speaking and touting about right now, that is helping to hold the economy up. Because of the work you did and the groundwork you laid, we are benefiting from that today. Similarly, the liberalization of telecoms, and we know all of what took place, but the little thing that many of us didn't know is that for 3 days in 2005, we couldn't get any calls in and out. But because you were relentless in your intention to advance telecommunications and make it a liberalized telecoms industry, you persevered on behalf of Jamaicans, and Jamaicans won. Jamaica won in that regard. Yes, there are some things that people have to say about Philip Paulwell, but I think at the heart of who Philip Paulwell is someone whose belief in service, who is convinced that at the end of the day, we all are placed here to do something, and you are living that out. Firstly, in East Kingston and Port Royal, where you have achieved a lot, but you still believe that there's a lot more for you to do. So I hope and I pray that you will have the courage and the fortitude to continue to do what is to be done. So as we wrap up this evening, I feel like I need to give you more to say.
No, that's 1 minute.
Yes.
Conference.
Top of the
You
conference.
I work hard, so I make no excuse for enjoying
Partying hard.
for enjoying my life,
Yes.
and that's the reason why I can still smile and people say I still look
Look,
youthful. On the 7th of August, all
7th.
yes, will lead to Bournemouth. Bournemouth is a historical place, It was a location for a famous swimming pool. The pool is still there, but the venue was a place for great entertainment. So
Mm-hmm.
it's our 60th year and my own 25th year as a member of parliament. We're going to have a bashment at Bournemouth. We
Uh-huh.
have Fab Five Band, Fab Five Band confirmed and ready. We have one of the greatest sounds, Stone Love,
No, sir.
Stone Love, Metro Media.
Is
I
that
mean, it's
Sound
a big
Clash?
sound. It's a big sound. And we have some youngsters coming into some of the DJs. We have some artists who's going to perform. We're trying to make sure we get all the contracts in place first. But I can tell you, you've heard about Ritical,
Yes, I've heard the name.
the chosen one.
Mm,
Yes, he will be there. Ronkus.
I'm going to have to do a little
Well,
YouTube.
those are for the
Younger
younger
one.
generation. But we are working to try and get Marcel Griffiths for the Ken Booth. So we're gonna have a segment, for people like you.
Like
No,
me.
sorry, no, you're younger.
Well, so all roads lead to East Kingston and Port Royal at Bournemouth
Yes,
for the celebration of 25 years as Member of Parliament. This
yes,
is your conference, and it
yes,
is in our 60th year, the day
yes.
after independence. So we will be in a festive mood and
Festive mood.
lots to celebrate. And
Lots to celebrate.
I'm gonna make sure I drive over from Moby. I'm gonna make
Yeah.
it happen. I can't miss it.
And for those people who want to sample Port Royal food,
Yes,
there will be a tent for fish and bami. Not free, not free. Can't
not
afford 5,000. But you can come there and get your authentic Port Royal food. People going to be having, it's going to be like a little village, a little
free.
carnival.
So you're having a fair. You're having a real independence fair.
And we're going through, so the private session is at 1 o'clock. We finish that
Yes.
by 3. Public session, we're going to deal with the formalities where we're doing some awards. So by 4:35, all
Mhm.
the speeches and everything out of the
Right.
way. So from 5 o'clock, go right through until 1 or 2. We're getting permission to do it.
Thank you for
Which is,
pointing that out.
yes. And it's good vibes,
Yes.
So good security. People should come all over Jamaica. PMP people want to have fun sometimes, man. Let us stop
And
the and
listen,
fighting.
and after the last 2 years and change, we all deserve an opportunity to have some fun. So I will be there.
Good.
I can't miss that.
Yeah.
And I look forward also to supporting the local businesses in Port Royal. So
Yeah.
I'm coming ready for all my fish and festival and bami. So I'm going to take
The
my water
best.
from now so that I can eat everything. But it has been a tremendous pleasure being your host on your show, interviewing you, and my first time doing this. I'm very excited. It was
No,
wonderful.
I hope I have boss you as
You
a
boss me.
journalist.
I might find an income stream somewhere, right? Listen, Philip,
Well,
the PNP is a party that I'm very proud to be a part of. I'm very proud to serve with you at this time. We are not in the best of place. We know that. But out of every situation like this, we must get out of it, and together we will all benefit from the hard work that we are all doing right now. So thank you for continuing to be a good comrade, a good party man, and for being a guide to me in the parliament, and always being available when I have a question and I need a little help with resolving or talking through or figuring something out. So thank you for having me and me having you. So I will give you the last word. It's your show at the end of the day.
I'm a yogi. I don't know, yeah, I do yoga.
Yeah.
So at the end of our session,
Yes.
we say namaste.
Namaste. Bye.
Bye.